Hello and welcome to a Prince of Persia The Forgotten Sands Any percent tutorial. The first thing I'd like to mention is that you should be using a controller for this run. Some of the jumps just aren't possible on keyboard. The second thing I'd like to mention is that in the description you can find a download to a list of save files. How you go about using those is you can see my directory here. It might be a little different on your computer, but you're looking for a folder that has these three folders. These are the files you're going to be able to download, and basically whichever one you want to load up, you just extract it here. When it asks you if you'd like to replace all, you just click yes. Then you go into the main menu and click continue, and that will be the save you've loaded up. If you want access to your powers, you will have to close the game before you do this. With all that said, we'll go ahead and hop into a new game here. You want to lose your upgrades, and then you want to select easy as your level of difficulty. And we begin timing when we skip the first cutscene. On the topic of skipping cutscenes, I recommend you get in the habit of using the right D-pad button to switch between these two options, because later in the run we will be using the left D-pad for ice, and you don't want to accidentally waste any of your ice powers while trying to skip a cutscene. To get started, the fastest form of movement in this game is jumping. The two big downfalls to that are that jumping into walls and enemies wastes a lot of time, so you want to be a little careful with where you place your jumps. We'll go ahead and start hopping our way on down these stairs, and when we get to the bottom we will find our first glitch, which I call consecutive jumping, and this is what that looks like. So as you saw, I was able to hop straight to the top of this ledge rather than having to wall run up to it. The reason for that is, for whatever reason, when you jump multiple times in a row, every jump after the first is a little bit higher than it should be, and you can see that right there again. So those are the first two places you can abuse that glitch. We'll find some more later that save a bit more time than that. As previously mentioned, jumping on enemies is bad, so you want to roll through them. They can hit you while you're rolling, but it's extremely rare. When we get over here, we want to wall run to the left rather than up, just like this. If you find that you're not going to make it all the way over, you can cancel your wall run at the end to extend your distance just a little. Usually you don't need to though. Now we're just going to continue on for a bit here at the intended route. Unfortunately, there isn't really any way to speed this up, so just follow along.
Shooting arrows at me in here. Yet anyway.
This room can be pretty easy to die in if you're not being careful, so until you get used to it you might kick this room a bit slow. There's a mini time saver we can do with these curtains. By canceling your wall run as you approach them, you drop down lower on them, like this. And as you can see, I had to slide down less time than I normally would. Just be careful with that though, because doing it too early can get you killed, and obviously it didn't save enough time to be worth that. Now as we get to the bottom here, we have another little movement trick that saves a little bit of time, and it also comes in handy a little bit later in the run to help us get a particular cycle on some traps. But basically, as I run into the edge of this button, I'm going to jump, and that'll allow me to both press the button and jump over it at the same time, just like that.
This also reminds me of Azad. This is looking worse and worse.
We have another consecutive jump trick coming up. This one's a little bit time sensitive. As we get to the bottom of this curtain over here, we're going to roll to the right and jump 3 times. Just like that. So as you saw, I jumped right through those enemies instead of jumping on top of them. That is because I got there quickly enough that they didn't have hitboxes yet. So that's the trick on that one. If you don't think you can do it that fast reliably, then just do 2 jumps and roll past them to get to the wall.
Looks like I can grab on here.
We have another little time save on this rock climbing wall. So you see this cutout in the wall here to the right. As soon as you get to the first handhold above that, so this one, you want to wall run to the right, and it's very important that you press wall run multiple times when you hit the wall. If you press it once, you will fall and die, and then you jump off, and that lets you skip some of the climbing. Around the corner here, we're actually going to lose some time on purpose, and that is to avoid a terrible graphical glitch that happens if you go through this area too fast. So basically, when I get on this beam, I wait until the prince stops moving entirely, and then I continue. Really, the problem only arises if you go through there without stopping at all. As long as you stop for even 1/4 of a second, you're usually good to go. When we get over to these rocks, again, I wait just for the instant the prince stops moving. For some reason, it makes a difference which bricks we will land on, whether or not he has stopped moving. As soon as he stops moving, we're going to drop down, jump off, hold forward, and jump again. And we'll land right here. Now we're going to wall run to the left, maybe. There we go. We've got another consecutive jump glitch right here. Just like that. And there's another one right here. This one can be a bit tough to get. I usually don't even try to get it. I just am happy if I get it on accident. It helps if you land the first one right over here up against the wall. You climb up, jump twice like that. If you don't get that one, no worries.
I'll never catch up to them at this rate.
Now we have a one-time glitch. I found nowhere else in the run where this is useful. The first place you can do it is on this rock. You press wall run and then hold down on the analog stick very shortly after, but you want to make sure you do press wall run first and not press them at the same time. When you do it correctly, that happens. I don't know why, but it's faster, so I do it. You can also do it on this rock. When we get over here onto this beam, we're going to wall jump to the right, and that's going to let us skip climbing rocks again. We're coming up on our first skip that saves more than a fraction of a second. But first we have to solve a little puzzle, in air quotes. So once we press this button, the camera is going to pan away. I'm actually going to keep moving while the camera is gone. I'm going to do that by canceling my wall run and then holding left and jumping. And then on this one I'm going to do it as well. Cancel, jump right, just like that. And now we get to the skip. So you come over here. You want to get as close to this wall as you can and then do that little almost falling off animation. Just like that. You want to line the prince's head up with the center of that window, roughly like I have it now. If you're too far to the left or too far to the right, you will die when you do this. So it does take some practice. We'll see if I get it. And I did get it. If you do it correctly, you land on this fence, which has no collision, and you lose all your downward momentum, and so the fall doesn't kill you. Now we'll go ahead and continue. We have a button on the wall right here, so we're going to roll and jump. Jumping up against those is faster than wall running up to them, so we're going to do that everywhere we can, including right here. Now we have another consecutive jumping glitch. This one is a little more important because it doesn't just save time, it actually lets us get through the level. So there is another glitch you can do here, but this is easier and faster, so I recommend you do this version. Basically, just before you hit this ledge, you don't want to be right up against it, but just before you hit it, and you can do this with a running start, you just want to start jumping. And that'll give you enough height that you can wall run up to the top here. If you didn't jump multiple times, or if you place your jumps incorrectly, you cannot wall run up to the top. So once we get in this room, we're going to turn around and wall run and jump, and he's going to auto aim to the pole. We'll just get up to the top here. Once you land, you don't want to go in there because you'll trigger a cutscene. You want to ride the fence just like that. You want to break these vases because the auto aim will get in your way. You want to place yourself about here. This is not a very precise trick. You want to place yourself in this general area with the prince's head lined up roughly where I have it. You want to press forwards and jump. So as it turns out, the prince loses collision when he's in a dive animation, and that allows us to clip through the wall right there. And we'll just continue. A quick note, when you're doing that quickly, you want to let your stick neutral before you jump to the curtain. This game is very bad about storing the direction you're holding, and if you don't let your stick neutral, you might accidentally jump off the pole in the wrong direction, which can get you killed. So we jump on over here, and we line ourselves up on this wall roughly around that brick line right above the prince's head there. And then we jump, and we jump, and we climb, and we repeat that process as many times as we need to. Usually twice, occasionally 3.
I understood why Malik had come here. He had placed his last hope in the army. His only other option was retreat, defeat.
Once we get up here, we're going to immediately start wall running. You don't need to go way over there in the middle. Then right here, we're going to jump close to this fence, roll, and then jump again. And if you do that right, you'll hit the curtain. Then we can place 3 jumps and wall run up here, and now we're going to trigger a cutscene, and you can pretty much jump any direction and hit the trigger for this. Now this room usually has an unskippable cutscene and quite a bit of platforming, but we're going to get around most of it. We're going to start off by turning around and wall running, and for some reason it didn't work. There we go. We're going to jump this way. Okay, so the movements you need to make on this pole are pretty precise, but they're not too bad once you get used to them. We're going to turn to this side. We're going to climb up what I call twice, or you're going to see the prince's right hand move exactly 2 times. Just like that. Now we're going to jump, wall run, and then we're going to jump out of our wall run a little bit early. Just like that. It's important to note, when you climb around the corner here, if you jump right now, you will die. You need to climb over that little extra bit right there. Now we'll hold to turn around as soon as possible. So now we're almost done with the introduction here. We're just going to platform our way through here as quickly as we can. To skip this cutscene, tap roll. Not sure why, but it works. We will hop our way up here. If you move too fast, you can actually... I didn't get it. If you move too fast, you can actually skip that cutscene. And I don't mean in the good way. I mean like the cutscene just doesn't happen and you can't continue the game. So make sure you slow down on that last jump to make sure you get it. Here we can hold the rewind button way before it ever tells us to.
This must be what she meant by giving me more time.